Today, we are diving into some wild Reddit money confessions from the Our Personal Finance subreddit. And we are looking at how they got into debt, and we're going to give some perspective of what we would do if we were in their situation.
I'm loving these threads because behind every financial disaster is usually some relatable moment or bad decision, or honestly, just being human.
So grab your coffee because this one is going to be equal parts cringe and clarity. Welcome, Frugal friends. I'm Jen.
I'm Jill.
And today we are reading some recent Reddit money stories from the personal finance subreddit and giving our opinions.
I am so stoked on this because these are real people's stories that we can learn from. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, but there are tidbits we can pull out. So this first one is titled, Am I Cooked? I'm 23 and $96,000 in debt and shares. 23, almost 24, just secured my first job, paying $75,000. I had a bad relationship and was in fight or flight mode where I continuously ignored my finances. I feel like my life is over. Living at home now, and then gives a rundown of all of the finances. So here's what we got. Total open balances, $96,188.
That is a big number to look at.
It's not six figures, but it is real close.
It could get there real close. It could get there real fast with how much credit card debt is here.
So here's the breakdown. $20,574 is credit card debt. $6,486 is collections. $32,486 student loans, and then makes a note, more soon, I'm getting my MBA. $0 other loans. I think she just put that in there to be like, but otherwise, nothing else. $36,642 in auto loans, no home loan, and then $3,518 in a Roth IRA. No savings.
All
and
right.
Then, we won't worry about the
There's
edit.
an edit, but then we'll get into that later. So the first thing I think about when I read something like this, I remember being 23 and feeling like this about my $50,000 student loan. Because when you're that age, 23 is so young, but you are an adult and everything is on you. Everything just feels more massive. Like I felt with just $50,000 in student loan debt, and I didn't even make that in a year, which is her, she's got $75,000 in income, pre-tax, which is a great income, but she has more debt than she makes in a year. And thinking, I cannot pay this off. I am gonna have to declare bankruptcy. There is no way I can do this. It's too big and I am too small. And that is a common feeling in your 20s. Honestly, it can be a common feeling at any point in your life when you're dealing with debt. It's too big and I'm too small. And I really didn't feel this until we got into paying off debt, this feeling that it sounds weird, but like I am bigger. Like I am not as small as I think I am. I am not as incapable as I think I am. And it was this awakening for me that has carried over into other parts of my life that I am more powerful than I give myself credit for.
It's so hard to forge a new narrative when you don't know that reality yet. You have none of those experiences. You only have the experience of accumulating debt. You don't have any version of track record to go back to and be able to say, no, but look at everything that I've been able to do in the past. I mean, we could look at other types of accomplishments. Certainly if you're in your early 20s, that can be really hard to do. And I think that's what can make it feel so massive is you don't yet know what your full potential is. You don't yet know what you might be making in the future, the things that you can and are capable of accomplishing. But we won't know those things unless we start to try for it. And if we can hear some of these voices that actually this is a big number and it is more than what you make in a year. But for me, looking at this, coming from my own debt payoff experience, having talked about personal finance for so long, like this is tackleable. That's not a word, but this is possible.
It's tackleable.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt.
I can tackle this. It's tackleable.
Tackleable. Yeah,
because
you're right.
Here's what's going good. And this is where I want to start with myself. I want to start with other people. What's going well? And this person has a lot going well for them. First of all, yeah, they have a Roth IRA. That is a lot more than many people can say.
Amen.
Especially at that age, because a Roth IRA isn't something that your work is giving to you. This is something that she had to sign up for and contribute into, which is really incredible. So well done. Even if she put nothing more into that, which she should, but that's going to grow. She has something put towards retirement. Well done. She's tackling it now. 23, sure, almost 24, but willing to look at it. So much to the point where she wrote down the numbers. Honestly, that's the hardest part. When we know we've got a big, scary, hairy monster in the closet of debt, looking at it, getting the real numbers, writing it down is one of the most difficult steps in that process. She's already passed the difficulty. She wrote it down and she told people about it, like put it out there publicly. That's huge.
Asking for help, asking for advice. It's underrated.
Well done. Ended a bad relationship. She goes on further in the comments to describe some of the dynamics in this relationship, and it was not good. And so for her to have gotten out of that relationship, begin to identify what are the red flags there? What do I not want to repeat again? Wonderful lessons to learn at 23, and well done getting out of that relationship.
At 23 especially, we feel like we need to have learned everything. We need everything we needed to know we should have learned in high school and college, and now we're adults and we need to be at the level of adulting that people have been at for, 10, 20, 30 years. And it's just not true. But I do agree that she's almost 24 and she is in such a good place.
Yeah.
And this debt can be overwhelming. So, and I did the math, even if she didn't invest another penny in that Roth IRA, she at a 7% annual return, she'd have over $52,000
by the time retirement happens.
But yeah, in 40 years.
Yeah.
So by
you can't
64.
retire on that, but like $3,500 turns into $52,000.
Right.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so that's something she doesn't have to worry about for a few years while she gets this under control. So let's look at.
Well, I mean, she's also making a good housing decision, and she's got a great job.
Yes.
So she's got a lot. $75,000 is annually more than the median income in America, like $15,000 more. So there's a lot going well here. So let's talk about the actual math.
Yeah. So we've got credit cards, collections, student loans, and auto loans. Those are the 4 loans that we are looking at. And we don't know specific percentages, but we can probably infer that credit cards are going to be the highest, followed by potentially collections, depending on what's in collections. It may not have any interest. We don't know. But they do hurt our credit score and will make it harder to get loans in the future. And those loans will be at a higher interest rate. So we do want to prioritize those, followed by auto loan, potentially, then followed by student loan. And then she's going to be getting her MBA, which will potentially increase her income. Not every master's will increase your income, but an MBA is one of those graduate degrees that potentially has probably the best option, one of the best options too. So if I was looking at $96,000 of debt, first thing I would do is I would tell you about the book, The One Thing, which changed my life. It changed the way I look at things and changed the way I pursue goals. And so The One Thing is a book by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, but it can be summed up into this one phrase. What's the one thing that which by doing makes everything else easier or unnecessary? And what that means is when I'm choosing my goals, I want to choose to work on one goal at a time. And the way I choose that one goal is the one that's going to make the biggest impact on all of my other future goals by either making them easier to achieve or potentially unnecessary to achieve. So for me, that's tackling one debt at a time and getting that off the plate. So we've got 4 groups of loans. There might be like loans in between, but we'll just look at them as a group of 4. And I always start with credit cards. They are 9 times out of 10 going to be the highest interest. And the higher the interest, the harder it becomes to pursue all other goals because so much of your money is being eaten by interest. And so there is something to be said for the debt snowball, which the debt snowball method is taking the lowest amount of loan, which in this case would be the collections, starting with that, paying that off as fast as possible, and then going to the next one, which then would be the credit cards. But if the collections aren't bearing any interest, potentially, I don't know, then the credit cards are going to have so much interest that it's going to be easier to meet the other goals because of that, especially because this one's so high. Now, debt avalanche starts with the highest interest and then goes down to the lowest interest. That doesn't do well with our brains psychologically because we want to see quick wins immediately. And so then what I do kind of to trick my brain is in our student loans, we had different student loans in each of that. It was one big student loan, but every semester had student loan. So what we did is arbitrarily, we just worked off of each semester's grouping. It didn't change anything overall, but we were getting those quick wins, seeing those
paid
zeros.
off spring 2018.
Right,
Yay!
right. So that helped with the psychological part while also playing into the advantages of paying off higher interest.
Yeah. The thing that stood out to me, so I kind of ran some of the math to really see what is possible here because, okay, looking at the numbers of what we owe is only one part of the equation. We also have to look at what is my current financial situation and how am I spending money? How dire is this really? So imagining that she's in kind of like a middle taxable state. So we don't exactly know, but we can imagine that this person probably brings home $4,460 a month take home based on her $75,000 annual salary. So then working off of that, I also ran the numbers on, what's average credit card interest, average that she'd pay in collections, student loans, all of it. So we can imagine based on the numbers given to us that she's probably paying minimum payment on the credit card debt would be $410. Collections would be $130. This is all per month, $130 per month. Student loans would be about $345 a month. Car loan, she did say in the comments, was $933 a month.
Because a lot of people in the comments were like, get rid of that car, $36,000. The thing is that you, and a lot of commenters were saying this too, you don't know to say that until you know what kind of car it is, because used cars are $36,000, right? So my used van that was 3 years old was $25,000. So can you get less than 36? Yes, but may not make sense. And so, what we found was that it's a Mercedes. And I believe that she said she was underwater in it.
And that was part of the toxic relationship that she was in that kind of led to that decision. Now trying to figure out what to do about it and paying $500 a month just in insurance on it. So
Yeah.
this car is costing her a lot. But even with all of those, all of that debt, and then plus that car insurance, that amounts to $2,317 a month. Then if we were to do some quick guessing at her other monthly expenses or what she might reasonably pay, she's living for free back home. So all she probably is needing to pay for is phone, food, maybe miscellaneous. So chalk all that up to about $650, give or take, but we're just playing around here. That total monthly amount would be $2,967, which essentially means she's got about $1,500 left over every month. So while this feels so overwhelming, even if she continues to make those minimum payments, which will eventually pay off that debt, it won't go on for forever, she still has $1,500 a month to figure out, what do I want to do with this? Do I want to debt snowball it? Do I want to debt avalanche it? There is flexibility here. I know this isn't everybody's situation, but running these numbers makes me even more hopeful. There's a lot going well here that can really tackle this in a real way.
And it looks like she can get out of the car in 18 months. It sounds like it's a lease, but that will give her even more leeway to make more progress. And it's a 500. And so the reason getting out of the car in this case would be good, it's also a $500 per month insurance because it's a luxury car. So if she downgrades to something that's not luxury, it downgrades every cost in general.
I didn't run this, but so if she only made the minimum payments on the credit card, it would take her 9 years to pay off. If she was able to put that extra $1,500 towards that credit card payment, I mean, I could quickly run it, but you are going to slice that number. Like she could very quickly pay off that credit card debt, which would be our recommendation just on paper logistically, because you're probably talking an 18 to 24% interest on that loan. And so that would make a significant difference for her to wipe that out. So for her, that would be our, kind of recommendation. And I think she would find herself in a drastically different place in just a matter of a couple years.
Yeah.
Like by the time she's got her MBA, she is in a drastically different place.
Yeah. And I think if she can go in and look at her spending and make sure that we're cutting to the bare bones, but we're not depriving ourselves to the point where we're going yo-yo, because it is hard when you are 23 and single and everybody is going out and doing things and you want to take advantage of that. When I was in my early 20s, I was out every weekend doing stuff, having fun, and we want that for you. So I think it's also about going in and looking at your spending and starting to figure out what are the things that bring me joy. This relationship sounds like it was super controlling. And so you may not know what brings you joy if you have been told for years what is supposed to bring you joy. And reconnecting with yourself and figuring out, what do I love spending money on? And what have I grown out of loving spending money on, and getting those things maybe without spending as much money can make this feel sustainable so that you can see it through the whole home run.
Okay, here is the math. Assuming that student loan had 6% interest on it, which maybe it's less, even if it had 6%, she put that extra $1,500 a month towards it. That student loan would be gone in 10 months. Less than a year. That's wild.
Yeah.
So hopefully she listens to this
episode. Good place. And I think the main takeaway is creating habits that will make all the advice of the commenters. She follows up and says, edit, if you commented, thank you for your honest advice and kind words. Per one commenter, it is reassuring to know I am sizzling but not entirely cooked. My plan is to work on getting out of my car and into a cheaper option ASAP, and have a strict budget for the next 18 months to pay off all credit card debt and collections, then get a savings account started so I can feel better. And I do think that that is a great plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next scenario.
All right. This one is titled, I feel like I am actually drowning. I made the most irresponsible financial decision ever. I need advice. I made the dumbest decision of choosing to take out payday loans instead of saving up, and I completely blew that money. I used half of it for a deposit on my new apartment. The other half I used as a down payment on a car. There's 3 loans in total. One, $2,000 with $429 biweekly payments, last payment due in November, which I effed up and interpreted as monthly instead of biweekly. The other loan was for $1,500 with biweekly payments of $260. Final loan is biweekly payments of $190, last payment due in January. The biggest loan, though, is through Speedy Cash, and it honestly feels predatory. I made my payment and my amount went down to $500 just to log in a few days after and see $250 added back to the loan amount. The APR on these loans is an insane amount, and I truly feel like I effed myself over. My rent is $1,053, with me making around $3,000 monthly, depending on my bonus amount. I'm truly debating if I should miss a few payments to save up a bit, or what should I do?
Oh, I feel this one. This one does feel very overwhelming. This is like drowning, and it is predatory. Like, it doesn't just feel predatory, it is predatory. And that's what a lot of the commenters say on this one. Again, to start out though, like, what is going well here? I think looking at it, having the numbers, reaching out for help, wanting to figure out what's my next best move, those are good things going in our favor. If we can be willing to face these decisions, feel the weight of them. And he's not directly saying this, but I feel it in what's being described. Like, I'm never going back. I am never going to do this again, because by the end of it, they're paying so much more money to have borrowed that $2,000, that $1,500, to just get that loan. Like, it is not worth it.
So this is really the place where we would give advice to go scorched earth, because it's a small amount with a really high predatory interest. And so a lot of people in the comments were like, get a second job to pay it off as fast as possible. And I think people, when they think second job, are thinking of applying for jobs. And they were saying, the OP was saying in the comments, like, I'm applying, but it's hard with a 9-to-5. No, that's not what we're talking about when we talk about second jobs. We're talking about pet sitting on Rover, driving for Amazon Flex, delivering groceries with Walmart or Instacart. So this is stuff you can do flexibly. My friend just got a job shopping at Target. So like compiling everybody's like regular Target like shopping things, and she does it on her own time. So things like that pay, that are not like almost like commission based. Like, doing surveys is so sporadic. Don't do it. Mystery shopping, like, it'll pay for your dinner, but it won't make you extra money. The apps are the things that we're talking about. And there's so many more options than just like Uber or Instacart now. There are so many options, and these are all the ones to be looking into to do up until these are all paid off. And I would say up until you have an emergency fund, because obviously you didn't have one. These were good things to spend this money on, right? It's not like you were taking payday loans to just buy, stuff, right? But we need to have the emergency fund for these good things. That's why we have the emergency fund.
And the reason that we're describing such scorched earth here is because of the math. So he, as they say, takes home $3,000 a month, sometimes more. And I think that's another thing going in their favor. If they can hit those bonuses or can get extra time, whatever that is, make sure that that paycheck is the highest amount possible. But when it comes to all of the total monthly balances of each, or what they would owe each month, this does amount to $1,939 a month. So about $1,940 per month is just going to these loans. And so they did list out what their rent is. We don't know about their other expenses. We can assume that they do have other expenses. They need to eat, they need to be driving around. And so if we assume kind of bare bones expenses, we're probably talking about $2,200 a month between rent and other things, which would bring the monthly total to about $4,100 a month, which would mean he's outspending $1,100. So what's owed and what's coming in do not line up. And when that is the case, when we're not just paycheck to paycheck, but we are overdrafting every single month, that's scorched earth. Not to be alarmist, but you are essentially drowning, and you need to find that air a little bit. And that air is going to be some extra cash flow, however you can find it, whether it's going for that promotion at work, getting those bonuses, extra hours. Some of these jobs that Jen just listed off will make a huge difference. And then building that emergency fund is so important.
And this is for anyone who feels like they're stuck in a low paying job. Jobs are hard to come by right now. Like, let's not minimize that. It is hard to find a good paying job. Layoffs are rampant. It is hard. But instead of having this mindset where we just like take it laying down and complain about that fact, we need to be doing for ourselves everything we can, because we are the only people who can save us, essentially. And that sounds very dire, but in cases like this, it is us. Like, nobody's coming to save us. And so having a season of scorched earth, like, I don't believe, like, my husband and I did scorched earth for like 2 years to pay off our debt. I don't believe people need to do it that seriously, but having a year could be really healthy. And yes, we can complain about how it shouldn't be this way. Like, it shouldn't have to be this way. And you're right, it shouldn't have to be this way, but that's the way it is right now. And we can complain about it. We should complain about it a little.
Let's find some people to complain about it.
Right. We should be able to complain about it a little, but then we have to get to work.
Yeah.
Then we have to get to work.
I think in this situation too, it is helpful to have that specific number of how much more do I have to bring in a month? What can I do to hit that number? And of course, we want to cut expenses as much as possible. So certainly if this person is spending more than they need to, if they're going out to eat a lot, if they've got subscription services, like we're scorching the earth here. That doesn't mean we still can't have fun, because there's plenty of fun things to do. There's plenty of borrowing of things that can happen. We can still hang out with friends. We're not scorching that earth, but we are cutting. And then we're identifying, okay, he probably needs to make an extra $1,000 a month. What needs to be done? Even break it down. What does that mean I need to make weekly? What thing can I do to bring in that amount every single week? I think can help make it a little bit more palatable too. And to be reminding ourselves that, yeah, this isn't going to be for forever. I'm going to dig myself out of this hole. I'm going to get an emergency fund. And then we don't have to be so nutso with it.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to have nearly an extra $2,000 a month to decide what I want to do with it. Like in this situation, $3,000 monthly is very reasonable to live off of. It's the fact that nearly $2,000 is being eaten up in loans.
Yeah. Especially with this person's like paying only about $1,000 in rent.
Yeah.
A very important question that the OP posed was, should I miss a few payments to save up some money? And there was somebody in the comment section that had a very good response to that. and essentially is do not miss the payments, because the high interest, and this applies to credit cards as well. So if you're looking at credit card debt, this applies to you. Don't miss the payments in order to save more money in your emergency fund, because the high interest will compound and dig you deeper. And they may also have additional fees. They will have additional fees and penalties written into your contract that will dig you even deeper. You need to pay off payday loans, high interest, credit cards as soon as possible to escape the interest, to escape the fees, and then build up savings so that you don't go into these predatory loans again.
Okay, let's take it a step further. We didn't talk about doing this, but I think it's helpful. The situation that got this person here in the first place. I don't have the money for the essential thing that I need. What do I do? And so I think defining essentials, I think food, transportation, some sort of roof over our heads. Sometimes, I mean, clearly for him, it sounded like it was transportation that got these loans taken out. And I think, we will choose some of these options when it feels like, what else can I do? What else can even be done here? Hopefully I'll be able to pay it back, but I've got to respond to this emergency. And I feel that deeply. Like, we are not being callous to that situation and how dire that feels. But I think the takeaway for me in this is avoid payday loans at all costs. But I think, what's the alternative? I think we need to have that conversation of, okay, yeah, great. That sounds great. I just won't do that. But what happens when I don't have the money? And, certainly I think this is where we need to, if I can offer some solutions, I'd love to hear what you would have to say about this. But where can we gain help and support from our community? So what is available? I don't know what all the situation was for this person, but or like what the need might be. Certainly if it's food, just Googling free food in the area that you live in will most assuredly return some sort of food bank, place that you can go, not just for canned goods, but for hot food. That's a possibility. When it comes to situations where just money is needed, I think looking into loans is not out of the question, but being aware of what type of interest is going to be charged on those loans.
Yeah. So I think the first and foremost is, if you are going to be moving and ahead of time you're going to be moving, then that's the time to really cut your spending to the bare bones so that you can save up for first, last, and security deposit. You have to. That's just what you have to do as a renter. If you don't know you're going to have to be moving and it comes up on you quickly, then leaning into your community for a bit. I say that so sparingly, because you're going to have to find a storage unit for your stuff anyway. So that's going to be money. And then you're also going to spend social capital with whoever is helping you. Hopefully it can be your parents. But if it's coming down to it and you just don't have the money, then that is how things like that. I mean, that's why payday loans exist. But here's the thing. There are so many more loan options available now online that is where I would go first. I would take out a personal loan first. And then, because it's going to be closer to, maybe 10 to 15%, typically even less than a credit card, if your credit is good. So that is probably where I would go first.
Mhm.
I would
And-
always stay away from payday loans.
Yeah.
Always. They're always going to be predatory. They're always going to be, it's not going to be a scam because it's going to be written in their contract and you're going to have to abide by that contract when you sign it. But the contract's always going to be predatory.
And what type of charity resources exist? I know that that doesn't feel great, but every community does have that, whether
Mhm.
it's for transportation or utility bills or rent or whatever the case may be. If you are that strapped, it's that dire, that's what those are for. That's what those resources are for. And so being able to go to your local community center, getting in touch with a social worker, looking up resources yourself online, they can be utilized. That's why
Yeah.
they're there.
It is not going to be glamorous.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely
Mm-mm.
not going to be glamorous. But you have to put yourself in a financial position where you can do this bare minimum stuff
Mhm.
because that is what is expected of us as adults. And is it always right? No, it's not. Again,
Do you want to complain about it?
you can
We
complain
can
about it.
complain.
You should complain about it, and it should make you angry to an extent too. And then let that anger fuel you. I think I've said that before on the podcast. Let the anger fuel you to doing better for yourself.
Yeah.
And I know there's always this element of spending that comes in, is that when we are in stressful situations like that, our capacity for making rational decisions decreases. And so even if we're bare bones, we are going to be making small purchases that are impulsive, that we don't really want to make, that we will regret. And so going on this scorched earth kind of season for at least 3 months. I think you need anything you need to do for at least 3 months. Unless you're doing like a no spend challenge, that can be like 30 days, but that's a challenge. That's an experiment. But a lifestyle, in order to see changes, needs to be done for 3 months at least. So going through this scorched earth season can bring you back to this kind of level playing field with your spending and limit some of these impulsive decisions that we make out of emotional stress and strain.
You know what doesn't make me angry, but I'm still fueled by?
Oh,
The bill of the week!
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hi, Jen and Jill. My name is Darcy, and I am calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My bill of the week is that I was decluttering, doing lots and lots of decluttering before my third baby was born. And I came across a couple old gift cards. And I went to go look and see how much money I had on it. Well, sure enough, I found a couple of them. One of them was a Barnes& and Noble gift card for $5. And guess which book I bought using my $5 gift card? Buy What You Love Without Going Broke. I finished it just recently. Absolutely love it. Can't wait to review it online. And yeah, you guys are just so great. I have to thank my mom for pointing me in your direction. To say that you guys have changed my life would be an understatement. You guys have impacted me and the generations to come. And I'm just so grateful for your work. Thanks so much.
wow, Darcy.
That's so cool. Amazing. This is a beautiful bill of the week. I love the hack of digging through gift cards and just seeing, okay, how much do I have on this? How can I make myself a fun, low spend week around these gift cards? And I feel so honored that you chose to spend your $5 Barnes & Noble gift card on our book
Yes.
and that you loved it so much and that you truly feel like this information, this content is changing your life, which is so true about the decisions that we make with finances. Like it is life trajectory stuff. These
Yeah.
are some really profound decisions that we're making when it comes to our money. And I'm glad you feel empowered.
I think that we underestimate, like, because we're just sitting here on a couch talking about Reddit stories or whatever else we talk about on a weekly basis, social media, whatever. And we do this and you listen to us, but I think we underestimate the impact that we can have in our own lives and the people around us.
Yeah.
If we are having these conversations with the people around us, then you can impact the people in your life that don't even listen to Frugal Friends. And you can have the same impact on the people around you. Because like we're just talking to each other on a couch. That is all we are doing.
Well, there's a camera then too.
And a camera. And sometimes we look at the camera and we pretend it's your face because it kind of looks like a robot from WALL-E. And that's what I pretend who I'm talking to. Anyways, we can all do this. And I think we all should be doing this because we deserve it.
If you want to talk to us about your bills, if you've got more bills to share with us and you want it to be publicly heard with us on a couch, frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill, whatever you want to share that's bill related, we can't wait to hear it. And now it's time for
the lightning round. Pew. Okay, how did you feel about your finances at 23? Because it sounds like both of our posters today are definitely young. And the way you view finances in your youth is definitely different than the way I view finances now, and will be even different than how I view them in 10 years.
Yeah. I remember feeling so defeated. Just how in the world will this ever be possible? And kind of silly, like, why is this my situation? And why did I agree to pay so much money for some stupid piece of paper? So defeated and then a little bit angry, because that is usually one of my first emotions, is like anger and frustration. And it was more than what I made in a year. And that especially felt really overwhelming. And like I said at the top of the episode, I didn't have any backlog of experience to point to and say, oh, I'll eventually get better at things. I'll eventually be able to make more money. You don't know that. Like, you have no data points really to look back at and say, okay, this is my situation now, but I've been in places like this before and we're going to rally and we can do X, Y, Z. You just don't have that
you don't have any frame of reference.
So all you have is just, I'm broke. All I've known is broke. All I've known is debt. I don't feel that skilled at what I'm doing. How will this ever change? And I truly did just want to like lay down and let the thing take over. Just let it happen to me and just give up. It's not what happened, but I felt that way.
And I'm sure you're similar to me in that, like, when I was starting out in my 20s, I was like, I will not make more money. This is it. Yeah. This is the profession I have chosen, and there is no growth beyond this. I know, because I'm looking at people 20 years older than me making this.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't see any other options.
Right. But you know what? Unpopular opinion. Life is long. I don't know. Come at me. It kind of feels that way. I mean, maybe I'll change my tune when I'm in my 60s or 70s, but like, you can reimagine yourself so many times.
Yes.
Like, you and I have had so many different degrees, and not degrees, but yes, degrees, that careers, choices that we've made. Like, you can do so. And I love your quote. You can throw them a plot twist. Like, even if you got a certain degree, that may not be what you're doing in 5 years. And that's my gosh, fine. Yeah. It probably won't be.
Don't let your 18-year-old self or your 22-year-old self dictate what you do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
How much did you know at 18 or 22?
And
I
only
knew
those two
nothing.
ages.
Yeah, I knew virtually nothing.
Yeah.
So I was not going to let a 22-year-old tell me what I'm going to do the rest of my life, even if that 22-year-old is me.
But it was possible. We moved through the feelings of defeat, overwhelm, and anger. We let the anger fuel us.
Mm-hmm.
And we got out of debt. We clawed our way out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about you? What did it feel like to be 23?
I felt the same way. In my mind, I considered bankruptcy. But then...
Did you know what that meant at the time?
No. And you can't discharge student loans, federal student loans.
I declare bankruptcy.
I stood up and I declared bankruptcy. Nothing happened.
So that's an option. You could do that.
You could just stand up and declare it. See, let me know in the comments if anything different happened for you. But no, I felt the same way. And I chose a profession on purpose that was low paying.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to do money or debt.
Yeah.
Nobody. It was taboo to talk about. And my mom had a history of outsourcing parenting.
To the TV?
To like class. She would sign me up for classes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like a driving class or a class to learn about my health and my body. Yeah.
Reading between the lines.
Yeah. And but she didn't sign me up for a money class. And so I had no frame of reference.
Yeah, no, most of us don't.
And
we don't know it's real money when we're signing up for these loans at 18.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, wait, really? But you actually want me to pay that back?
I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And I felt very overwhelmed. And I always tell this part of the story when Travis wanted to pay off debt and I didn't. I was like, I don't want to spend the best years of my life living under a rock.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was going to have to do from, 26 to 31 while we paid off our debt.
Yeah.
And obviously we were able to do it in 2 years. And I didn't feel like I was living under a rock. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that I took a chance to do things that I didn't think I could do.
Yeah.
To feel bigger. I felt so small.
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped out and I gave myself the opportunity to feel bigger. And it was not an instant thing.
Yeah.
It was only looking back on it in hindsight that I realized that's what was happening. I didn't feel it in the moment. And I'm so grateful for that season and what it has taught me. If I could go back, I wouldn't choose debt again.
Yeah.
But I know why it was chosen for me.
You know what the common thread is through all of this, and I think is a huge takeaway for this episode, is looking at it and talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the fundamental keys to finding ourselves in a different place, meaning debt-free.
Yeah.
At some point down the road, knowing the numbers and having the courage to share it. I mean, you and I, it's one of the things that formed this friendship was being able to talk about our debt payoff journeys. For these people, I fully believe that they are making great strides because they looked at the numbers and they're asking for support and advice.
And asking in the right places.
Yeah.
We're not talking about it with other people who are just like, YOLO, come on,
Yeah.
stop paying
Me too. Who
the
cares?
bills and just let them go into default. Like, just lay down and take it. The other day I was thinking, I had this like profound phrase and I was like, I'm going to say this out loud on the podcast. It's not going to sound profound out loud, but in my head it sounds really
Can't
profound.
wait.
So you can either take the shots now and struggle with them.
What kind of shots? Alcohol or
No,
like medical shots?
Just let me
Basketball
finish
shots.
the phrase.
Okay. Okay. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take? Is that what? I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Have you lost it?
Okay. Take the hits now. Take the hits now so that you can call the shots later. Because if you lay down and take it
Oh.
now, it gets harder. It gets harder and harder to get back up.
If you call the shots now, you're going to be taking hits later. Taking hits now and later.
Well, no,
But
you
take
can't
the
even, with
hits
all
now.
this debt, you can't, you're
You
not
take-
calling any
There's
shots.
no shots.
There's no shots to
Aw.
call. You can take the hits, which is in debt payoff and learning all these things about your spending and your earning and making hard decisions and changing. And it's not easy. You will fail.
Yeah.
Like you will fail over and over and over and over. Take every fail and stay standing, because eventually you will fail less and you will be able to call shots. But if you just lay down and take it now, it gets harder and harder to get back up to be able to take those hits.
There's just a lot of violence happening.
I understand that
is
was what
very
was going on
violent.
in my head. And this is the literal first time I've said it out loud. And I regret it as much as I thought I would.
I actually really love it. There's a nugget in there. I'm just having fun with it.
If you can
are we
find it,
talking
let me know.
sports? Are we talking aberrant behavior? Are we talking
Anyways, thanks for listening.
And also thank you for reading our book, where there is some more real good nuggets. And you could review it like this one, Valerie, 5 stars. When I saw this on an Audible sale, I knew I had to buy it. Pun not intended, LOL. I admit I have issues with impulsive shopping and just enjoy shopping for shopping's sake a lot of the time. As a psychologist, though, I do understand that there are other reasons for the behavior, and I often work with clients to curtail their spending by looking at the underlying reasons for it. This is exactly what I needed, both for myself and for the many clients I work with. Love that, Valerie. No, this book may not make you rich. However, it may do something better by quite literally stopping you from going broke. The authors do a fantastic job at making the concepts within both interesting and accomplishable. Love your use of made-up words. Something that we all need. After I complete a few more days of zero spending, I may buy the physical book to be able to loan out to others. Love that too, Valerie. Definitely worth the read, especially if you've tried other methods to curtail your spending and they haven't worked for you yet.
Oh, thank you so much, Valerie. That means a lot coming from a psychologist, that the concepts that we talked about were helpful, both for the layman and the expert. So if you have read our book, we would so appreciate a review on Amazon. If you haven't, then buywhatyoulovebook.com. You can purchase it there. There's also instructions for requesting it at your library if your library doesn't already carry it. And if you do get it from your library, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel or leave us a rating and review on Spotify or Apple and do that for us as payment for the book, that would be wonderful. If you have gotten it from the library and have not yet subscribed on YouTube, we would definitely take that as payment.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Payment in full. We'll keep coming at you. See you next time.